There's a moment in every life when the mirror gets louder than the noise. When the excuses we've sold ourselves for years no longer fit the reflection staring back at us. When the lie that someday will save us burns to ash under the weight of one simple truth. It's you. It's always been you. Not the economy. Not your childhood. Not the boss. Not the world. You are the gatekeeper of your potential. And right now, whether you know it or not, you are either building your life, or you're burying it beneath your excuses. You were not born to tiptoe through life hoping to avoid failure. You were built for the fire. You were made to struggle, to rise, to shape the impossible into reality. But that life, that real life, the one filled with freedom, purpose, impact, it has a price. And that price is personal responsibility. Let me ask you something that most people run from. What are you pretending not to know? You know the answer. You know what you've been avoiding. You know what habits are draining your power. You know where you're hiding. You know the lie you keep telling yourself about why now isn't the time. You don't need more time. You don't need more motivation. You need ownership. Ownership of your mind. Ownership of your decisions. Ownership of your life. Because until you own it, you can't change it. Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." Most people never fail because of lack of talent. They fail because they believe their story more than they believe in their future. The story that says, "I can't do that." The story that whispers, "I'm not enough." The story that screams, "What if I fail?" But Edison failed 10,000 times. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. Oprah was fired and told she wasn't made for television. Lincoln lost election after election before becoming one of the greatest presidents in history. Success doesn't come from being lucky. It comes from being relentless. You can either master your story, or be imprisoned by it. Because your mind is soil, and every thought you plant grows into something. What are you planting every day? Doubt. Fear. Excuses. Or belief. Vision. Discipline. You see, there's a reason some people rise above the world they were born into, while others live and die by the rules they never questioned. It's not talent. It's not fate. It's mindset. And mindset isn't something you have, it's something you build. Like muscle. Like character. Like legacy. That's why your habits matter. That's why what you do when no one's watching matters. Because the life you want isn't built in a day. It's built daily. When the alarm goes off and you don't hit snooze. When you show up to the gym, the grind, the work, whether you feel like it or not. When you study when others scroll. When you pray or meditate while the world complains. When you invest in discipline instead of distraction. That's where it happens. That's where the life you want is hiding, in the small decisions, stacked, day after day, until they become your standard. And standards are everything. You never rise above the standard you tolerate. So what are you tolerating? There's a quiet war happening inside every person who wants more out of life. It's the war between who you are and who you could be. The battle between your comfort and your calling. Every morning you wake up, that war begins again. And the battlefield is small, it's in your habits, your focus, your thoughts. But the consequences are massive. Because every decision either feeds your future or funds your failure. And that's where most people lose. Not in one giant fall, but in 1,000 tiny surrenders. They surrender when they hit snooze. They surrender when they scroll instead of study. They surrender when they say tomorrow for the 100th time. They surrender when they blame. When they doubt. When they wait for permission. But winners don't wait. Builders don't beg. They rise with a plan, not a plea. They move with clarity, not chaos. Because clarity is power. The world doesn't reward people who are busy, it rewards people who are certain. Certain of who they are. Certain of where they are going. Certain of why they wake up every single day with fire in their chest. That certainty doesn't come from luck. It comes from vision, crystal clear, emotionally charged, unshakable vision. The kind of vision that makes your excuses look like enemies. The kind that makes good enough feel like an insult. The kind that turns fear into fuel and failure into feedback. Think of the greats. Carnegie, Mandela, Jobs, Jordan. These men weren't superhuman. They simply refused to lower their standards to match their situation. They raised their discipline to meet their destiny. And destiny is not something you stumble into. It's something you decide. You decide what kind of person you'll be. You decide what story you're going to write with your life. You decide whether your legacy will echo or evaporate. But make no mistake, the decision is yours. An indecision is a decision. Every time you delay the work, you dilute the dream. Every time you seek comfort over growth, you strengthen the chains holding you back. But if you want freedom, real, so deep, purpose-driven freedom, it starts by facing the resistance. You see, resistance is not the enemy. It's the indicator. It's the signal that you're growing. That you're on the edge of expansion. No one becomes great without walking through fear. No one becomes unshakable without first being shaken. No one becomes disciplined without first being uncomfortable. So let the resistance come. Let the fear rise. Let the doubt scream. Then move anyway. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in the face of it. It's getting up when everything in you says stay down. It's showing up when no one's watching. It's believing when nothing around you validates that belief. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are in process. And greatness is forged in process, not in comfort, not in applause, not in guarantees. Just like a diamond is formed under pressure, so is the best version of you. So stop looking for the easy road. It doesn't lead anywhere worth going. Stop asking for a lighter load. Build stronger shoulders. Stop saying I can't, and start asking, how can I? Because life does not respond to victims. It responds to builders. Builders of mindset. Builders of value. Builders of impact. Builders of legacy. You were born to build. But first, you must break, not from life, but from limitation. Break the identity that says, this is just who I am. Break the pattern that says, this is how I've always done it. Break the silence of wasted potential. Break the loop of fear-driven living. Because somewhere inside you is a voice louder than doubt. A vision stronger than your past. A future that will only exist if you decide to create it. And that future does not belong to the person making excuses. It belongs to the one who says,